Hello. Yeah. Came to Ahmedabad. Well, I practice in Delhi, but actually I learned architecture from Gujarat. And like all, I moved on to Delhi to practice. That was the biggest challenge. Okay, so the topic today is the making of Dr. Ambedkar International Center. And I would just want you to appreciate and sympathize with an architect, how we actually work and how we get through all the challenges. So I'll just talk about the challenges that we had to face through in the construction of this project. Before the Central Vista project, this project came up, and like you can see, the biggest challenge was that it was just bang on the intersection of Rajpath, which is now known as Kartavya Path, and Janpath. This was any architect's dream to work next to, that's the context for people who are not well-versed with Delhi. So the project was just adjoining the main axis, and that was the biggest challenge, what to do there. Well, that's my team, the structure engineer, the services guy. Now, the government of India thought of making a convention center in the heart of Delhi because there's a lot of demand for having a good convention center. So they came up with a proposal to make Dr. Ambedkar International Center at Janpath. And they kind of earmarked 3 acres of land. So 5 empty bungalows were demolished, and we were given the piece of land. So I'll start with the easier part, which is planning. Now, what we did was we thought that since this building will be for Dr. Ambedkar's on his persona, so we took a very simple form, which is around 60 meters by 60 meters and 20 meters height. It's a very simple, straightforward square form. And we were able to, kind of functionally divide this into 3 parts. So we have 3 convention centers. One is 700 seaters, 200 seaters. Central atrium, light comes in from the top. Simple. That's the ground floor. The first floor had, again, convention center, offices, and that's the terrace part. Now, if for you who are not well-versed with the Central Vista, there are a lot of challenges to work in this area. There are a lot of rules and regulations. So the building was actually, the form was filled, the plan was done, the height was fixed. We can't go beyond 20 meters. We have to leave a setback on the top. So this is the easier part. That's the basement. So what we did was, we did the entire parking services in the basement, so none of the car is visible on the ground floor. We had 2 basements. And that's the interesting part, that's the section. So we had a lot of space within the space. We had all the functional happening around a central atrium, parking, and everything. Now, this was the simple part. Now, to make a building next to Lithian's buildings, it is a challenge. So what do we do? So like any, and plus we are dealing with the government. We're dealing with Dr. Ambedkar's persona. So what does an architect do? So like all smart architects, what we did, we made 2 proposals. One that we thought the client would like, and one we thought that we would like. So this was the proposal that we thought that the client would like, because it was perfect. It was matching with the urban context. It was having all the elements. There was a very strict program. You have to have Buddhist elements. You have to have a dome. You have to have this. And, well, we made another proposal, which we liked. It also had elements of Buddhist architecture. It had a dome. It had everything. Over and above that, we had to make use of only a specific material, which is sandstone. Now, I'll pause here, and I want you to appreciate that what does an architect do? The Central Vista Committee has its own guidelines. The material is fixed. Everything is fixed. But still, we thought that this is a building for Dr. Ambedkar. We don't want it to be a stupa. We don't want it to be a Buddhist temple. It's a building in the 20th century, and it's a functional building. So what we did was we came up with our own language. We came up with a very modernist approach with all the features which were like the guidelines for us. So I'll just point out a few elements of this building that we thought were really meaningful, because a building has to be functional as well as it has to have its own concept. That's the elevation of the building. Since the building was facing two major arteries, so we had the elevation, same elevation on both the sides. That's the inside of the building. You can see the atrium, which gets the light, because we have to have natural light. This is a daylit building. You don't need to put on any light in the day. That's another view overlooking the atriums. That's the two facades which you can see. And when the two facades intersect, there we wanted to have a feature, which is our sthambh, Ashoka sthambh with the Dhammachakra. That's the final building. You can see it has all the elements which were told, because if we don't follow them, it doesn't get through. We were restricted with 20 meters. I don't know how this meridian came up. That's a night view. You can actually see the building inside out. Now, this was a very challenging thing, because on 2 floors you have auditoriums, and for auditoriums you need blank walls. So what do we do from the outside? And we wanted to have a lot of Buddhist elements. So that's what we did. We had the Chaitya arches on 2 sides and the gateways. For this, we actually went to the real stupas and real gateways. We white light scanned them, made 3D models, and then we got the water jet cut on the stone and got the things done. That's the atrium, the inside. The outside doesn't talk about the inside. Inside, it's like a human body. You don't know what is happening inside. But you can see the entire building is visible. You have a lot of plantation. And we had this dome on top, which was covered with polycarbonate sheet, multicellular. Now, the amazing thing about this multicellular polycarbonate is that when the light, which is a harsh light which comes through this, we get a very, very beautiful diffuse light. And that's actually a day view. This is a day picture without any Photoshop. That's another view. Now, if you see the dome, it's a 30-meter dia dome. And what we wanted was that since this is a building dedicated to Dr. Ambedkar, so the elements have to be speaking about it. So now the top is actually the Dhammachakra, which is our national emblem. 24 spokes. These are actually 24 spokes. So the entire building always is under that 24 spokes. And as the sun moves, you get the shadow in this atrium. That's the Chaitya arch, camouflaging the functions behind. That's the same atrium at different times. That's the level of detailing we could get through water jet cutting. They are the actual scanned images. That's the entrance facade. Now, we wanted the inside also to be inviting. So we have large glass facades with some certain elements of Buddhist architecture. That's the Ashoka sthambh. Now, about the main sculpture in the center, we wanted Dr. Ambedkar's statue. Now, if you see, most of the Ambedkar statues are actually the one he's pointing at something, I don't know where. So we wanted, since he has written the Constitution of India, he has to be shown in his office with the Constitution of India. So we actually got in touch with the sculptor, Ram Suthar. He actually designed a sculpture for us, and this is perhaps his tallest sitting statue of Dr. Ambedkar. That's the atrium, that's the auditorium. Another view of the building. Now coming to the most interesting and very subtle feature in the entire project, now the facade was fixed. We had to use sandstone. Now, how do we use sandstone? So what we did was, we took the sandstone in its natural texture. We had quarry finished stone mixed with a very smooth stone. When we proposed this idea of having a quarry stone, the client was actually flabbergasted that how can you use a stone without being finished? So we told them that since sandstone is a very natural stone, you don't get same colors, same textures, same. So we thought that if we have quarry finished, those elements will be hidden. Now what we did was, that's the size that modules we made in, 3 modules. So we actually took the preamble of the Constitution, we the people of India having solemnity. Now every quarry stone would represent one alphabet, and it would be broken by a slat of 6-inch smooth finished sandstone. So it's actually a Morse code written all over the building on all the 4 sides. So that's what gave the meaning to the entire facade. And that's got the pattern on the wall. You can actually see that pattern hidden on the facade. That's the Chaitya Arch, the gateway, the flooring designs. That's the dome. It was also to have, now the domes are easier if it's entire circular, but this was 3 meters high dome. So it was actually not a complete circular dome, again into steel. That's the entrance arch. And that's the scale of the statue. And that was made in 3 parts and actually fused at site. That's again the Ashoka's thumb. It doesn't end with a human touch. So even though we use water-cut jet cutting, the final finishes was done by artists at site. So there's actually one story in each stone. That's the dome being constructed. That's the minister who used to come and visit every time. And we were lucky that the Prime Minister, Honorable Prime Minister, was who inaugurated this building. We got the Vishwakarma Award by the government, also a prestigious A-Design Award. And we are also featured in a lot of magazines. Thank you.